Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with the January transfer move to Arsenal. And the games are coming thick and fast at the moment. We face Chelsea tomorrow. Massive game for Arsenal. We've been drawing so many games recently. Really could do with a win. And obviously not the easiest place to go and get a win. We haven't won there for ages at Stamford Bridge. So that's going to be a really, really tough game. And still no signings. I'm a bit surprised by this, I must admit, especially when I consider the fact that the injuries that Arsenal have got, the lack of depth. As I said on yesterday's show, Arteta himself saying that, basically we've got two midfielders at the moment playing as fullbacks. No fullbacks. They've all been injured. We seem light in the centre-back area. Socrates was out. We had to play Mustafi against Sheffield United, who the reports were that he could be on his way out, which now what's happening? Is he staying now? Seems to be that way. Remember last week, they sort of softened the blow a bit, I felt. They brought out some stuff with Mustafi talking about his time at Arsenal, etc. So he could be staying. I really don't know what's happening at the moment, but Arsenal are light at the moment, we're sure, and we could just do with some signings, particularly in those defensive areas. It was really interesting, actually, to see that William Saliba, or Saliba, whichever way you pronounce it, was actually back at Arsenal last week. He was at Arsenal training and being assessed by Arsenal's doctors. He also has had some injury problems this season, which is not a good sign. He's been out for a couple of months at St Etienne. And they've really struggled without him. That's the one thing is he looks like a really, really good defender. And they've really struggled without him. They were keeping lots of clean sheets and doing well when he was in the team. Since he's been out of the team, I think they've lost 4 on the bounce. So they'll be hoping to get him back. But we could really do with him right now. But of course, he's still going to be returning back to St Etienne to complete his season before he joins us at the end of the season. But we need a defender now. Now, lots of suggestions again today about Jerome Boateng. I get fed up of having to repeat the same thing, but it is, again, what a lot of people are talking about, that Arsenal and Mikel Arteta want to bring him in on loan from now till the end of the season. It looks like their preference is a loan deal. I said yesterday about the Upamecano thing. Maybe they'd love to go and put in a massive bid for him and try and get him done, but that seems like it's going to be more and more difficult to do. Jerome Boateng on loan until the end of the season would make a lot of sense. He can play as a centre-back, he can cover as a right-back. He actually played yesterday for Bayern Munich in their 4-0 win over Hertha Berlin. I was watching that game, and it does look, and there were suggestions from their manager last week that they want to keep Boateng. They're a bit light in those areas as well, and they've had a lot of injuries, and they may be unwilling to let him go. But lots of talk today again about Jerome Boateng till the end of the season. I've got to say, if he's good enough for Bayern, he's good enough for us, isn't he? We're here saying, no, not too sure about him. And that. Till the end of the season, it would make sense. But as I said, maybe difficult to get done now, as he's actually, he's playing. He played yesterday, so will that be able to get done? Then there's Bruno Guimaras. Spoken about him literally every day of last week. He's still all over the news again today. Now Lyon have made a move for him. Lyon is said to be very interested in the Atletico Paranaense defensive midfielder who's only 22. According to L'Equipe, Lyon have entered the frame and would like to bring him into France. Edu was holding talks, as we know, with him last week about getting a deal done. The club are said to want about 21 to 25 million pounds. They already rejected a bid from Benfica for around about 70 million pounds. So this is a guy in demand. And again, it's another area that I think we definitely need to strengthen, which is that area of midfield, especially defensive midfield. If Torreira's out, basically, we really do miss something. So it would be good to have another player who can play in that area. But again, whether that will be this month or an end of season thing, because again, his club are not going to be willing to let him go out on loan. They're going to want hard cash for him, and are also willing to outlay that hard cash in the January transfer window. Levin Kurzawa, again, another one that's been on everybody's lips for the past week. The reports are that Arsenal have agreed a 5-year deal to bring him into the club. He actually played as well yesterday for PSG. They beat Lorient 1-0 in the cup. And according to what I was reading and the reports I was reading, he was not very impressive in that game at all. It doesn't seem like he's played well for PSG for quite a while. He's not their normal starting player. He got to start because it was in the cup, and apparently he didn't really impress. Now, whether that's because he's got one mind on moving away from PSG, or whether he's just not of that high standard, I don't know. He came into PSG as a real top player from Monaco, but it's just not really worked out for him at PSG, and it does look like Arsenal will be signing him. But again, if you read most of the reports, it does look like it will be in the summer for a free transfer, and not Arsenal actually, bringing him in from now, where they'd have to pay about £7 million. It looks like they don't want to do that. So again, no signing. And also, it'd be very interesting to read about Dani Ceballos. Now, Ceballos started off the season brilliantly for Arsenal. Everybody was really raving about him, saying that this guy is going to be, the answer to what we've been missing in midfield. He was exciting, hard-working, really a crowd pleaser. Then he's been injured, and injured out for quite a while. And since he's sort of come back off of that injury, he hasn't really figured at all under Mikel Arteta. And David Ornstein suggesting that Dani Ceballos is very unhappy at the moment, and his future's uncertain. There was a lot of talk at the start of the season that, let's when the loan move finishes, let's keep hold of this guy. He's the real deal. But again, just not working out at the moment for Dani Ceballos. And it's going to be very interesting to see what Arteta does with him over the next, few games as well. Because, as I said, we're short in midfield, but he's not playing him. So maybe there is something in that. And Ceballos at the moment really not hitting it off at Arsenal. And I'll tell you what, forget about January. When the summer comes, Arsenal are going to need to make a lot of signings. There's a lot of surgery that needs to be done on this team. Arteta can only do so much, but he needs the backing of the board. And whether they're going to back him or not this January, I think they need to back him. A lot of people are saying, just write the season off and stuff like that. Listen, we've got to try and finish the season strongly, and we've got to try and get us high up in that table as possible. Even to get back in the Europa League. Because for the finances, we need to be in one of those competitions. So I really do think they need to back him in January. But at the moment, it just seems very, very quiet. Even all the deals that they're talking about seem to be long-term deals for the summer. We need some players right now. Now, let me get into a couple of your comments today. I've got Matt Gray here, and he says, I don't think we'll sign Upamecano in January. I think we'll hold off till the summer, hoping to get him for cheaper, only to then lose him to Barcelona. And again, that is the worry, isn't it? Sometimes you just got to go in bold right now. Watching Liverpool yesterday, when they went in and they got Van Dijk, a lot of people at the time said they've paid way too much for Van Dijk. Now that's been proven completely wrong. And they got what they needed at the time. Sometimes you're going to have to pay a premium. That's what happens sometimes when you get those very best players. And if you want to buy top quality players, you're going to have to pay a premium. Ross Taylor says, Kurzawa is a poor player. Ask any PSG fan. And I've got to say, reports I've seen coming from PSG fans recently, doesn't look like there's many of them will be shedding a tear if he leaves. That doesn't mean he's a poor player. That might just mean it hasn't worked out for him at PSG. We've had players at Arsenal where they haven't done that great here, and then they've gone on to do big things elsewhere. Heinrich Harry Geschrak says, oh, come on, as if Leipzig were willing to sell Upamecano. They're aiming to win the Bundesliga, so they're definitely not thinking about transfer of one of their best defenders at any price. Moreover, why would a player with a chance of winning the league consider transferring to a Premier League mid-table team struggling to make any progress for years? He's got a point. The one thing that does do it, though, is money. I mean, that's what does it. That is how you can tempt a very young player away from a team like RB Leipzig, would be to pay a premium. To say, go into Leipzig and say, you know what, here it is, £70 million. We want him right now. And you could get him. I'm convinced you could get him if they did that. Or at least secure him down so that you got him in the summer. But we need a top class. I mean, Upamecano and Saliba, how exciting would that be? If we could get him in place, backed up by guys like Luiz and that with experience. That would be an exciting, centre-back pairing. Finally, let's go with this one from Monki. He says, Pippa is amazing. She's so lovely. It's time for you to go, Robbie. And he says in Claude's voice, it's time to go. Listen, she did do brilliantly. She was fantastic. Well done to Pippa. And also check out all of her stuff that she did yesterday. She was at the women's game where Arsenal got beaten 4-1. That was a real pounding at that game. Chelsea really took Arsenal women to the cleaners. Let's hope they don't do that with the men tomorrow. We could really do with a win. Thanks for watching the show today, and we'll be back tomorrow.